by which means from the beginning, how and what was the criteria by which identity came about? How would you group the vast majority of people? Would you group them by color? Would you group them by their religious or their belief in God? What identity would you give them? By their continent? How would you give and what would you call an identity that would make a difference, that would be difference to where it would truly separate and allow a difference to be noticed? Or so we want to go into the Bible and see how this identity started, and does this identity hold truth to this day? It says in Genesis chapter 10, verse 32, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. Now let us go on through the Bible to see, does this hold strength? Because this is after the flood. In Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 to 3, it says, now Yahweh has said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So he told them that he would what? He says, and I will make of thee a great nation. Has nothing to do with religion. Let us continue to see, does this hold strength? Let us go to Genesis chapter 15, verse 12 to 14. And when the sun was gone down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. So he also described the people that they would be, that would afflict them, not as a color, but he gave the description that they were a nation. And he says, and also that nation. So when you are describing people and you get their nation from which they come from, then you can eliminate color, because color cannot give you the identity of a person. Genesis chapter 17, to take it further, verse 4 to 5 says, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abraham, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. So he didn't make him a father of all nations, but many nations. 15 to 16 says, and Elohim said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of peoples shall be of her. Let's go down to verse 20 of the same chapter. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. So let us go on to see the strength by which when we give identity to someone, we don't give identity to their religion or their color. We give the nation by which they come from is their identity. So let us go to Genesis 8, chapter 18, verse 18. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. See? Let's go to Genesis chapter 22. Verse 15 to 18. And the angel of Yahweh called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, said Yahweh, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sands which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gates of their enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Now, let us go further, because I would like to have the scriptures to point out and prove, because I'm dealing with that this is a nation of people. This is not a religion. We're not black. We're not snowball. We're not coons. We have a nation, and we belong to a nation. Before we came over here on the slave ship, we belonged to a group of people. But as I've told you, this Bible that they call the Bible, which is the books that was given down to us by our ancestors, truly allows us to identify. But let's go further and do this, that. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25, verse 21 to 26. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hands took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bore them. So let us go on so we can see that it's following straight down through Genesis. We're going to Genesis chapter 27 from 1 to 13. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes was dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meats, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before Yahweh, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 young kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meats for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse. My son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. So let's go on to of the same chapter, verse 22 to 30. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him, and he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his remnant, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. Therefore, Elohim give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee. What? And nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that cursed thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. So let us continue and read what has transpired, or what will transpire after Jacob has left. And he also had made savory meats, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venisons, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou comest, and have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and has taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shall thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Now, we're going to go on, because I really want to continue to strengthen the understanding of identifying your identity. And what I'm trying to show you is through scriptures, so that you can go back and you let it make sense to you, because it definitely has to make sense if you understand that who we are. So let us continue and go to Genesis chapter 28, because we must understand who we are. Genesis 28, let's go to 12 to 14. And he dreamt, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of Elohim ascended and descended on it. And behold, Yahweh stood above it and said, I am Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, thy father, and the Elohim of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south, and in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So I advise the people of the earth to become aware, because the blessing is in these people. And I advise the people to become aware of who they are, so that they can stand and receive the blessing, and that they might bless themselves by treating themselves well. And there's only one way we can treat ourselves well. But let us go on and see through scriptures that we might identify who we are. Let's go to Genesis chapter 32, verse 24 to 28. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevaileth not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince have thou power with God and man, and has prevailed. So we can see that Jacob's name now is changed to Israel. And they give you the definition of it. So let us go on, because as we see that Yahweh is moving his nation that he started. This is Yahweh's nation. You understand? He reared them up. And it's up to Yahweh to do as he pleased with them. And he will. Let us go on and read Genesis chapter 35 from 9 to 13. And Elohim appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Pandan Aram, and blessed him. And Elohim said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And Elohim said unto him, I am Elohim Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to thee, I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he talked with him. So it's constantly being substantiated that these people that became Israelites were not, it was not a religion. This was a nation of people. And as we read in Genesis chapter 46 of Genesis, 46. And Israel took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifice unto Elohim of his father Isaac. And Elohim spoke unto Israel in the vision of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am Elohim, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. So they did go down into Egypt, and it was, we know that there was Reuben, Simon, Levi, Judah, Zebulun, Ezekiah, Dan, Gad, Naphtali, Ephraim, Manasseh, which are the two portions that was given to Joseph, because Joseph was in Egypt because his brothers sold him in, and Benjamin. So these are the 12 tribes that had individual names, but their family name, they were Israelites. And there was the Judeans, or Judah, which people said, well, I'm Jewish. Now, they never had a religion. There was nothing about no religion in there. See, and the Torah is their customs, traditions, and the way they was taught to serve their God. So this Bible don't say nothing about religion. Religion is totally man-made. See, so you can't find no identity in no religion because God never made it. So let us go and find out that Israel did some things that put themselves at odds with the God that built them, that took them and made them into a nation. And I want to go into Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I want to read what befell that nation and what it was said would happen to them when they would do what? In Deuteronomy chapter 28, starting at verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou shalt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So we can see that these brothers, this nation, received from their God commandments. And it was obvious that he gave them strict laws that if they broke it, that he would punish them. Now, let us go to Isaiah and then come back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, starting at verse 15, and I'm going to read some of the verses. But let us go to Isaiah and find out that when Isaiah the prophet came to them, he said that Israel had turned to become a rebellious group of people and that they had forgotten their God. So it says in Isaiah chapter 1 verse 2 to 4, Hear, O heaven, and give ear, O earth, for Yahweh has spoken. And this is what Yahweh has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. So who did Yahweh nourish? He nourished the children of Israel. And we rebelled against him. It's saying, he said it. It'll be like, for Yahweh has spoken. And this is what he said. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. He said, the oxen, which is supposed to be the dumbest animal, the oxen knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. He said, but Israel does not know, my people does not consider. A sinful nation, a people laid with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken Yahweh. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards. So when we get a description of who we are, we know we're rebellious people because we broke the commandments of our God Yahweh. So when we want to learn who we are, when you see what's happening around us, and that we, because we rebel the commandments that our God gave us, then you have to understand that the only thing that we like is anything that is in rebellion, in confusion. When we start talking about things that will help us as a nation, it disperses us. If we start talking about things that someone is not going to take advantage, it makes the individuals in the group discontented because they have to be used and abused, because when Yahweh gave them the most perfect thing, there's nothing else to get but confusion. So unless we come back and keep the commandments of Yahweh, how can we have any peace? How can we have any definition? How can we have any insight? How can we not do anything but fail? So as we go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we begin to read, and I'm not going to read all the curses, I'm going to read some of them. But I want to read and tell you what Yahweh said. It says, Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing, vexation and rebuke and all that thou sittest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. So see, we've forsaken him. And he has given us cursing and vexation. So when you see black people fail in their business, in their families, it's because of the disobedience to the commandments. But let us go on. Yahweh shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. So, if we're going to look and understand where we came from, once we understand that we come from the continent of Africa, that means that that nation